Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic. And today I'm here to talk about my top 10 shows of 2024. I'm also going to go through my honorable mentions. Now, I'm not going to waste any time here. I'm going to get started right away. But before I do, I want to let you guys know that I'm not going to spend a ton of time on most of these. A lot of this stuff I've got full coverage on the channel, or I've talked about already in various other venues or various other videos on the channel. So I'm going to hit these kind of quick, but there's kind of a lot to get through. So I'm trying to keep this at a decent duration. I don't have any notes done. I'm totally off the top of the head. I'm just going to go through my list and I'll talk about each show as I come across it. And hopefully you guys enjoy. And I know it's been a long time coming. I took until, what's today? February 3rd to get this done. But I did give some shows that ran kind of late into January, the time to, make sure that they had a proper chance. And then there was stuff that I just wanted to kind of knock out before I started doing this. So I'm going to start with the honorable mentions. The honorable mentions are not in order. So like, I'm just going to talk about them. They're probably fairly close to, chronological order. Like, I'm not going to guarantee that this is the order they were released, but more than likely that's how I update my list. I watch something, I just add it. So it's probably in the order that the shows were released. So I'm going to start with the first one here, Echo. That was I think it came out in January, very early Disney Plus show about, Marvel, Disney Plus show about the Marvel superhero. It wasn't great or anything like that, but it was very watchable. We got to see the return of Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin character to mixed reviews. But I didn't have any problem with it. I thought it was a fun show, fun to watch. It got me, I think, sufficiently hyped up for the return of Daredevil, which I think is in March. So, it was solid. Like I said, it wasn't anything that I was like, it never contended for the top 10 or anything like that. But I enjoyed Echo. I thought it was fun. Some people kind of shit on it. I feel like, they were a little bit hard on that, like they were on the Acolyte, but the Acolyte wasn't any good, but but Echo I thought was solid. I enjoyed it. My next honorable mention is one of my favorite reality shows, and I don't watch reality shows. And even when I say reality shows, I know you're probably thinking I'm talking about like, I don't know, some stupid fucking competition show or the British bacon shit. Like, I don't really watch that kind of stuff, but this one I watch all the time in its various iterations, and I absolutely love it. It's Love on the Spectrum. This is the US version, season 2. There's a US version and a UK version. The UK version, I think, is the original one. And actually, no, I don't. It might not be. Is it the UK? It might not even be UK. It might be like Australia or something. But the non-US version is the first version, the original version. I guess it got pretty popular, so they made a US version. And this was the second season of the US version. And it doesn't matter. Like, they're all essentially the same, just different characters. But different people featured. But the general concept is that it's people on the autism spectrum trying to find love. They're like going out on dates and shit. And like, you see their parents trying to like set them up with people. They bring in like this kind of like relationship coach. Who I think she like specializes with people on the spectrum. So she knows how to kind of like coach them through these situations. They get coached through situations. And the reason I love this show so much is because you as you move through life, you kind of, at least for me, I was a lot more combative in my 20s and 30s. And now in my 40s, I'm a lot more peaceful. I'm a lot more like, and it's not like peaceful like on some hippie shit. It's more like I just don't feel like bringing no fuck shit in my life. I don't want to deal with it. So like I'll just try to keep everything smooth because I know I got a fucked up attitude. I don't want to be going off. Let me just chill. Like and when you don't see anything positive come from that, like arguing with motherfuckers on the internet all the time, it's not like, so have you ever argued with somebody and they go, you know what, you're right, I'm gonna change my opinion. That's never happened. So it's kind of, what you realize is really a waste of time, and you don't want to fuck up your energy. You don't want to deal with that. And in this effort to kind of like keep myself in a place where I'm just like, just not angry. I don't even gotta be happy, just not angry. Love on the Spectrum is such a heartwarming show. Like, it always makes me happy to watch. It's fucking funny as fuck. And it's not funny as fuck like you laughing at people on the spectrum, but it's like you're laughing because they're so innocent and they're so, not, I don't want to say innocent, but they they just don't have that filter for like what's right and what's wrong. And, you know, a lot of people say that as an excuse to be an asshole, but like these people on the spectrum, like they don't know what's the society's acceptable response to stuff. So they just be saying stuff and it's just like adorable. It's like, oh man, it would be nice to get away with saying something like that. And nothing crazy. Like I said, these people are so kind. They're so pure. They're so innocent, not innocent, like almost like they can't be corrupted by the negativity of the world. It's so special and nice to see, and it makes me so happy to watch it. And there's nothing else that makes me like happy like that when I'm watching it. So, Love on the Spectrum, every season that comes out, it's in the honorable mentions of my shows because I'm not gonna put it in the top 10, but it's top 10 in my heart. Can't believe I said that. My next honorable mention is True Detective Night Country. That's technically the 4th season. That was another early release. Well, like I said, all these were early release. I think that was January as well. True Detective season 1, absolutely outstanding. I think we all agree season 1 probably one of the best singular seasons of television that we've had. Season 2, unfairly maligned, I think. Like not anywhere near season 1, the Vince Vaughn season, but not shitty. Like people made it seem shitty. It's not shitty. Season 3, another step up. That was a season that had Mahershala Ali, and then this one had Jodie Foster and I forget her name. I'm so sorry. It started with a Callie Uchu. I want to fuck her name up, so I'm gonna stop. But and I'm sorry, you ain't gonna see it, but I'm sorry. Like I said, I don't have any notes. I'm prepared. I'm just talking off the top of my head, but I thought it was a solid season. In a fairly disappointing 2024, it says a lot. I think that it didn't make my top 10 still, but it would have been like if they were ranked, this would have been toward the top of my honorable mentions. I thought it was a very serviceable season. Serviceable is unfair. I was better than serviceable. It was an entertaining season. It didn't do much that really like maybe go, oh shit. Like it had some moments that I was really impressed by, and there were some aspects to it, like just the overall kind of like tone to it, the vibe to it, like everything. I thought all of that stuff I thought was really well done. It didn't really do anything to like propel itself into the top 10, something special. But I found it enjoyable, you know, and also with a diversion for Pizzolatto, who had a hand in I think the first 2 seasons, maybe all the first 3, just I think less of a hand in as the seasons progressed. But then like he's out on this one. And then like he unfairly shit on this season, and you could tell it's just because he didn't like that a show took the name of what he did and made something different. He was incredibly hard on this season. Like I said, it was a good season. I enjoyed it. Yeah, definite honorable mention. Another honorable mention, and again, I think this is a January show as well. That January we started off strong, like we are right now. But this is another one that if they were in order, it would have been near the top. It was Monsieur Spade. This came on AMC Plus, starred Clive Owen as Sam Spade, a well-known detective character, Maltese Falcon, shit like that. And it was really the only thing that I think kept it out of my top 10 was that it ended really bad. Like, like there's another show that I'm going to get to in my honorable mentions that got progressively better throughout the season, and that if it had gotten off to a slightly better start, it probably would have made my top 10. But it just didn't make it because it started climbing up a little bit too late. Monsieur Spade and that show totally fucking nailed the finale. Like they stuck the landing on the finale 100%. Monsieur Spade was really good throughout, and then like fucking totally face planted the fucking finale, man. And yeah, that alone was enough. Like throughout the finale, this Monsieur Spade might have been in my top 10. I really liked it. Really, again, something new. You don't really see detective shows like this anymore, like this one. Yeah, man, I'd like another season, all that, but man, they really fucking dropped the ball on that finale. Did I cover that? I didn't cover that. Yeah, I need to talk about what I have covered and haven't. I don't think I covered Echo. I might have. It's been so long and I covered so much shit. Like it's been over a year. I don't know if I covered it or not. Love of the Spectrum, I wouldn't cover a reality show. True Detective season 4, I did cover. Monsieur Spade, I didn't. The next show, I did not cover, but I probably talked about on one of the Mike's Musings. And I've released all of my Mike's Musings, by the way, on on the main feed. All the ones that were on Patreon are released to the main YouTube channel. I'm still gonna keep new ones are gonna continue to be on the Patreon, but I figured it's been a while. Those have been up there for a while. Let everybody see them. And I think one of those I did talk about Baby Reindeer. But Baby Reindeer, another one of my honorable mentions. I think kind of like how I feel like people were a little bit too hard on Echo. I thought people were a little bit too praising of Baby Reindeer. I feel like Baby Reindeer had some very high moments and some very great episodes. And I feel like it told a story that was true and that needed to be told, at least true in that some of these events took place. Like who know, we hear the story from the woman's perspective is probably a lot different. But overall, as a TV show, I didn't think it was like top 10 material. Like if people were making this like, it's my number one, it didn't do enough for that. Like what it was doing through this show, like the conversation that it started just by existing, by this guy wanting to tell his story. I think that's valuable. And I think there were a couple of moments and a couple of episodes that were really powerful. Just not enough for me to be like, these moments alone or this aspect alone makes it for top 10. It was like those moments alone made it so that I felt obligated to put in my honorable mentions. And, well, I don't want to word it like it wouldn't have been otherwise because I did enjoy the show. But it's just one that I feel like it had a couple of really great moments, and what it accomplished overall as a series by this guy telling his story was needed and worthwhile. But the show itself is not a top 10 show to me, but it was still very enjoyable, and I definitely recommend everyone watch it. My next honorable mention is Phantasmus. That was on HBO Max, or just Max. It's a show by Julio. Here I am with the names again. Maybe I should have done notes. I'm going to look this up, man, because I don't want to shit on this guy's name, especially when I respect his work. And I'm going to do the same thing for Old Girl from True Detective as well. So bear with me while I look up this guy's name. Julio. It's bothering me that I don't remember. But again, long time ago. Julio Torres. So he... I think he also does the Los Spookies. I think that came on HBO. So he has a movie, I think Problemista, that's on HBO that I haven't watched. I haven't watched that movie, but I probably will. But Phantasmus, man, I can't explain it. It's like it's a surrealistic type shit. I barely remember it, but it's like I think he lost something, was trying to find it. It was like an earring or some shit, but like there's a lot going on with the various characters in his life, and it's like I said, it's very surrealistic. It's in my honorable mention strictly off vibes. I would love to go into my garage. That's where I watch all my shows at. I go in there, I smoke my cigars, I might drink if I'm drinking, and I'll watch my shows, and I'll turn off all the lights, make it dark like a movie theater, and that's how I watch my shows. I loved going into the garage and watching Phantasmus high in the dark. Like it was just a great experience. That's really all I could say about it. It's very difficult for me to explain, especially with no notes and so detached from when it aired, to explain what it is. But I could just say it's like a fucking acid trip or some shit, and it's just really fun to watch. But yeah, it's very much not a straight line. Hey, I'm telling a story, we go from point A to point B. No, it's not. It's some very surrealistic type shit. Let me look up while I'm here. Old Girl from True Detective, so I don't. And the thing, I covered True Detective too, so it's like, damn, man, I can't remember her name, but let's see. I don't want to disrespect this woman's name. Do I have to look up True Detective on IMDb and look up Night Country? I can just look up True Detective. I might have to do True Detective Night Country. Let me just start typing her name. I know it's Callie something. Callie Reese? Probably Reese. I'm sure I looked up how to pronounce it before I said it when I was reviewing that show. But I don't remember I'm not going to look up the pronunciation. But Yeah, so sorry about that if you don't, whenever you don't watch this, Callie. So my next album mention is Presumed Innocent Season 1. I put Season 1 because it's been renewed for a second season, supposedly going to have different actors in it, but this one had Jake Gyllenhaal in the lead. It's based on a 1992, I'm not sure, film by the same name, starred Harrison Ford. I don't know why people shit on this show, man. Some people were kind of hard on it. I thought this was a really fun show to watch. He gets accused of, he gets accused of killing a woman that he was seeing on the side, a side piece from his wife. And there's a whole lot of evidence to suggest that he did it. He swears he didn't. And the show just kind of covers that whole situation. And you got Gyllenhaal, you got, which Skarsgård is this? Peter Skarsgård? Yeah. Who else you have in this? Who was the? I'm just gonna keep IMDb up because I feel like I've disrespected people that I remember they shit, even though it's so far after the fact. But I just don't want to. I don't know. I don't want to be an asshole, so I'm gonna make sure I get these people's names right. Presumed Innocent. All right. Who I was in this again? Oh, Ruth Negga. That's right. That's who I was forgetting. Yeah. Because I remember what made me want to start watching it was, part of what made me want to start watching it was the cast. It was a really great cast. Showrunner, David E. Kelly. I think he did, he's done a lot of, I think, similar shows like that. Let me see. Didn't he do like Big Little Lies? The Undoing, that was really good. Yeah, Big Little Lies. Yep. The Undoing, that was really good on HBO. That had Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant. And I think I reviewed that. Either it might be one of the way back on one of the oldest videos that I would have on this channel. And then there was a time period where I only did this on podcasts, and I think I deleted all that. But I covered The Undoing at some point. It was really good. 9 Perfect Strangers. So yeah, like a lot of these same things, all these same kind of shows, they're all about the same quality. And I would put Presumed Innocent in that same realm as like The Undoing, 9 Perfect Strangers, Big Little Lies. I would say it's probably, The Undoing was really good. Like that might be the best one of the ones I've seen. And then Presumed Innocent and Big Little Lies are pretty close to one another. And I'd say both of those are better than 9 Perfect Strangers. But Love and Death, that was another one I watched. I might have covered it on the channel. That one I didn't think was as great either. So it kind of hit or miss with this guy. Nothing's bad, but some stuff's better than others. But I thought Presumed Innocent was upper tier, some of his better stuff. Gyllenhaal I thought was great in it. Skarsgård was great in it. I'll be in for season 2. It's I waver back and forth on how I feel about anthologies and changing the cast. Like with Mr. and Mrs. Smith, it's like, man, I like anthologies and I like getting a new cast, like The White Lotus, right? The White Lotus, it works. But like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I kind of feel like I want to, the part of what made it great was the Donald Glover-ness of it. Losing him, I think, could harm the show. I kind of feel the same way about Presumed Innocent. I feel like Gyllenhaal and Skarsgård really elevated this. And you could find other good actors. So I'm less concerned about that than I am about Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Because a very large part of what made Mr. and Mrs. Smith enjoyable was the Donald Glover aspect of it. If somebody else had done that, I wouldn't have liked it anywhere near as much. So my next honorable mention is Hacks Season 3. Hacks is another one, man. Like, I often talk a lot on this channel about shows that I just like spending time with these characters. Hacks is one of those. Like, I just like spending time with these characters. It's always a good show. Just like Slow Horses. It consistently gives you what you've come to expect. And there might be various degrees of that. Obviously, some seasons are going to be better than others. Same with Slow Horses. Season 4 made my biggest disappointments this year. It was still a good season. It was just disappointing because I expect Slow Horses to be even better than that. And Hacks is another show like that. It's consistently of high quality. It's consistently funny. It's consistently moving. You consistently enjoy these characters. It's consistently well acted. And it could be in my top 10 every year. You know, you never really know. It's just some years I'm like, I enjoyed this season more than others. And some years there are more shows that are worthy of being ahead of it than others. But Hacks is always one that's going to be, as long as Hacks is on, is going to be in my honorable mentions of my top 10. My next honorable mention is Black Doves. That's one that I kind of snuck in pretty late in the year to see if I wanted to give it an opportunity to make it for this video. And it did. I thought Black Doves, like a lot of spy shows came out this year. As a matter of fact, this is the first of my final 3 honorable mentions, and all 3 of them are spy shows. But Black Doves, this had Ben Whishaw and I want to Keira Knightley. I want to remember it without looking it up. But again, really entertaining spy show. Like nothing, high-end popcorn TV is what I call it all the time. Just something you can watch it, you can relax, you don't have to think too hard. It's gonna have some plot twists, it's gonna have some action, and it's just a fun time. So you can kind of like copy and paste that for all 3 of these, but my next 2 I think did some things a little bit better. Day of the Jackal season 1 is my next honorable mention. I have to note season 1 because it's been renewed for another one. We got Eddie Redmayne in the title role here. Lashana Lynch plays another character on here. I believe I do have coverage of Day of the Jackal on the channel. I believe I do have coverage of it. I got it because it released a week earlier overseas, so all the way up until the final week I was a week ahead, so I was able to watch it and like get my notes prepared and get the videos out on time. So that was nice. But before they came out on Peacock, but another spy show, just does things a little bit better in every way than Black Doves. It's better acted. I liked the pacing of it. Even though I thought I wouldn't. I was like, do I need this many episodes? But it didn't. Like, it's not one of them things where I'm like, oh, this was 10 episodes and it could have been 5 or 6. This is about where it needed to be. Maybe 1 or 2 less might have worked, but it was a fun watch. One of those ones where you can always get people passionately talking about it. Like, they're going to be, I love this show. And even if they don't love it, it's something that's always easy to talk about, like the events of the episode, what happened. Really engaging show. Another one that I enjoyed watching in the garage, just cutting the lights off and watching the Jackal do his thing. And then the last one, my last honorable mention is The Agency season 1. That was a show that I mentioned earlier that kind of got off to a slow start, but then got better each and every week. I thought the first few episodes, it kind of struggled to find its footing. I felt like it was trying to set up a whole bunch of different plot lines, and it didn't do it in the best way. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you look at that as like an editing flaw, maybe. Like, because I remember feeling like the scenes were like in the wrong order or something. Like, it was discombobulating at times to try to figure out, like, okay, wait, what is this? What's going on now? How does this relate to other stuff? And there's things that you don't understand how they relate until the very end, but like, not in the, I know that these paths converge and it's a matter of how, more so like, I don't even know what the fuck this has to do with anything. And it just seemed like maybe like the first like 2-3 episodes, I was just kind of like, this is fine, but like, this is a very, I don't want to say convoluted, but like, there's a whole lot going on in this show. And I just thought that the first 2-3 episodes didn't present it as well as it could have been. But once it got going and you get an understanding of everything that's going on, it got better and better each week. Stars Michael Fassbender. I didn't say what channel any of these things came on. Well, I think I did some of them, but this was on Paramount Plus. But I think you need Paramount Plus with Showtime. Like, I think you need, like, you can't have the bare minimum one. You got to have like a little bit better one. The one that has Showtime. It aired on Showtime. Star Michael Fassbender. What's her name? Jodie Turner. Fuck. Back to IMDb it is. I don't know why I'm not good with names today, man. Like, I'm normally pretty good with this, but yeah, it had Jeffrey Wright in it. I want to say Jodie Turner Smith, but I wasn't really sure. So I was like, let me just look it up. It is Jodie Turner Smith. Shit, I could have just said it and I would never have to do nothing. But anyway, yeah, really good cast. Yes, it got better and better each week. renewed for another season. It's based on a French show that I have not seen but want to see. It's called The Bureau, or The Bureau in French. Le Bureau. I really do think it's called Le Bureau. But I've struggled to find it, but I want to find it and watch it. But yeah, Agency Season 1. So I don't have coverage of that. I do have coverage of Day of the Jackal. That was on Peacock. Black Doves was on Netflix. I don't have coverage. Hacks is on Max. I don't have coverage. And I'm going to stop covering comedies. It just doesn't give me enough to do. Even the ones that I like Shrinking and Ted Lasso, I'm probably going to stop covering those. Like, if Ted Lasso comes back. Just because it doesn't really showcase what I do very well. So like I'm probably going to stop reviewing comedies. Presumed Innocent I covered. Phantasmus I didn't. Baby Reindeer I didn't. Presumed Innocent was on Apple. Phantasmus was on Max. Baby Reindeer is on Netflix. Monsieur Spade was on AMC Plus. I didn't cover that. True Detective Night Country was on HBO. I did cover that. Love on the Spectrum. All of those are on Netflix. Echo was on Disney Plus. Oh, and then I do have one more. The Penguin Season 1. It didn't make my top 10 just barely, but great performance from Colin Farrell. Again, kind of like high-end popcorn TV. Just really enjoyable show. Set within the world of the Batman, the version that came out with Robert Pattinson. It's just a really good crime show. Not quite good enough to hit the top 10, but watchable every week, entertaining. Colin Farrell had a great year, as we'll continue to discuss. And I do have coverage of the Penguin on the channel. And then that's season 1. I believe that's been renewed for a second season as well. All right, moving on to the top 10. We've been going kind of long already, so I'm just going to dive right into it. My number 10 show of 2024 is Shrinking Season 2. I covered Shrinking Season 1 on the channel. Shrinking Season 1 also made my top 10, whatever year that came out. And this show continues to be funny. It continues to be moving. The cast is growing, and growing not as in getting larger, but growing as a collective. Like in season 1, I remember explicitly saying, like, I would love to see the Gabby character and the Liz character on screen together more. And season 2, not only did it deliver that, and the back half of season 1 did as well, but now it feels like it doesn't matter who's together. Everybody, all the different pairings, or however you group any of this cast together, it's always great. The Brian character is outstanding. The Derek character, outstanding. Ted McGinley, I haven't seen him since fucking Married with Children. He's great on this show. Just such a strong cast. So funny. So moving and relatable. Therapeutic. So many great things to say about Shrinking. So, you know, like, I think a lot of the great aspects of Shrinking get lost in the praise for Harrison Ford's performance. And, like, I don't want Jason Segel's performance, or the guy that plays Brian, or Ted McGinley. Like, I don't want any of these. Everybody on here is great. I don't want any of these performances to be lost in showering praise on a guy who has been showered with praise for decades and decades and decades. And like, we all love Harrison Ford. I just don't want to be like Harrison Ford on Shrinking, when it's like, man, Jason Segel, this is the best role of his career. Like, Ted McGinley, like, what a story. Like, I haven't seen him in anything since Married with Children, and he's outstanding on this show. And I hate that gets lost in heaping praise upon a guy that's been getting praise heaped on him for 50 fucking years, man. Even more than that, probably. Like, so, yeah, maybe not 50, 40 years. We'll say 40 plus. Yeah, well, 40 plus. So that's my number 10. My number 9 show of 2024 is Fallout Season 1. This was a surprise for me. I don't even play the game. I've never played it. But, like, I thought this was, and this is going to be a theme, not just throughout this year, but throughout, I think, the duration of the time that this channel exists. The theme is going to be, show me something new, show me something different that I haven't seen before. I didn't have any problem that we got a lot of spy shows this year, but we got a lot of fucking spy shows this year, and not enough shows like Fallout. Like, give me more shit like that. Walton Goggins is great in this. Walton Goggins is great in everything, but for me, it was the originality, the uniqueness, and I know originality within the TV world. I mean, obviously it's based on a video game, so it's not, original. Like, it's just based on a video game. But like, as far as like the kind of content that I see on TV, you don't get much like this, and when you do, it's not done this well. And I thought it was a really well done, unique, creative, and fun show. I will be back for subsequent seasons, and I just thought it was really great. My number 8 show of 2024 is Sugar Season 1. This is one that I'm kind of passionate about. Like, have you ever seen those memes where like, what's your opinion that have people at you like this? It's got my man from Tangle with all the knives and swords and shit at his head. That's how fiercely I will defend this show, because I think there's a lot of fake elitist bullshit that falls into why this show is maligned. It has a twist at the end, a twist, but like, it has a twist at the end. And on paper, you read the description of this show and you read the twist and you're like, no fucking way. But this show did it, and it pulled it off, and it did a good job. And people wanted to be some fucking elitist, like, I'm a sophisticated fucking TV critic because this twist is dumb and I'm supposed to not like that so that I look smart. And like, that's all it was, is that this is the kind of twist that if you're a sophisticated TV critic or something, you're supposed to point at that and go, that's stupid. But it wasn't stupid. If you watch the fucking show, it's a good show. It was good for many reasons outside of the twist. And then the twist itself was not much of a twist by the time they reveal it, and it didn't impact the show at all. It was, I think, properly set up. If people were saying it felt like it was out of nowhere, they weren't paying attention. And I saw people who said that. They're like, oh, it just gives you this ridiculous twist out of nowhere. Again, like this fucking copy and paste bullshit that they think is supposed to make them look sophisticated. I don't want to say predicted, but like, I theorized, I think, after the second episode of the twist, like what ended up being the twist. I'm like, is it this? And I covered the show, so I think I said it in my video for season 2. I'm like, is it this? And it ended up being that. So you can't be like, oh, I felt blindsided. It came out of nowhere. When I saw it, I saw the table being set for this twist in episode 2. So like, they did a good job of setting it up throughout the season. And when it happened, it didn't feel like a ha-ha. It felt like the culmination of what they've been setting up. And I feel like this show handled something that sounded stupid on paper and took a great performance from Colin Farrell and made it into something that felt legitimate. Like, it didn't feel like some dumb shit that somebody just wanted to do and then pull off a twist at the end to shock everybody. It felt like they wanted to make a certain kind of show. It had a very kind of like LA Confidential vibe to it with this additional aspect. And I thought they pulled it off perfectly. It had the perfect balance. And I got renewed for a second season, justifiably so. Don't let the pretentious pricks tell you otherwise. Justifiably so. And I will be watching and covering it. My number 7 show of 2024 is Tokyo Vice Season 2, the final season, unfortunately. Tokyo Vice, a really great show on HBO Max. Here I am forgetting to say what the shows are on again. Shrinking Season 2, Apple TV. Fallout Season 1 was on Amazon. Sugar, that is also on Apple. And Tokyo Vice Season 2 is on HBO Max. But yeah, Tokyo Vice, great show. Slept on by a lot, not viewed by many, but a really good, just a show about Ansel Elgort plays this. He goes over to Japan and he works for a newspaper. Tall white guy in Japan working for a newspaper, and he just gets caught up in like not just relationships, but like relationships as far as like with women, but like relationships with just like the difference in culture, like how you forge relationships in Japan versus how you do it here. It's just different. He has to forge relationships with the police, different relationships with his bosses. He ends up caught up with the Yakuza, like all kind, but not like in a this is like a plot twist that is meant to shock you sort of. Like, it's all very organic. It feels very natural. It's just a really well done show, very well acted. Ken Watanabe is in it. My man who plays Sato in there is great. His name I don't know. And I think I might have started to cover Tokyo Vice. I don't know if I finished covering it, but yeah, Tokyo Vice is another one. It's unfortunate that enough people didn't watch it for it to stay on, but HBO canceled it. But Tokyo Vice, great show. Was in my top 5 up until fairly late in the year. My number that was number 7, 7, 8, 9, yeah. My number 6. I deleted the numbers. My number 6 show of 2024 is The Bear season 3. What I've been saying all year, man. Like, I think we all collectively agree that The Bear season 3 is not as good as 1 or 2, and 2's not as good as 1. Well, I don't think we all agree on that. There are people who like 2 more than 1. I am not one of those people, but I think we do all agree that 3 is the least of the 3 that we've gotten so far. But same thing I say about Slow Horses. A least season of The Bear or Slow Horses is still better than most of what's on TV. And you still get all the same stuff that you generally get from The Bear. I have a video here for it, so you can watch that if you want more of my thoughts on the season. But I had issues with it, and it was less that I had it. I take that back, actually. Well, I did have issues, but it's less about the issues and more about what it didn't give me. Like season 1 and season 2, like a lot of what people don't like about the show is what I like about it, which is that high anxiety and shit. Like, I like a show to make me feel something, like physiologically, like I want to feel something. Like if you could make me audibly react or physically like jump out of my seat or something, like whatever. Well, if you make me feel something, like for real feel something, I'm gonna fuck with your show. And The Bear season 3, it makes you feel something is an understatement, but like whether that's heart-wrenching emotion, whether that's anxiety, whether that's laughter, it makes you feel something. And I feel like The Bear season 3 did not have the highs that The Bear season 1 and 2 had. And that's why it's just low. That's really it. That's why it's lower. It did not have the highs that season 1 and season 2 had. But also it feels like part 1 of 2. Like it feels like seasons 3 and 4 are going to feel like one season and work in concert with one another. So who knows? Maybe I'll watch season 4 and I'll look back at 3 and 4 as a collective and say that the story told in seasons 3 and 4 is on par with the stories told in seasons 1 and 2. Or maybe I'll look at season 4 and be like, season 4 was great because they saved all the good shit for the second half, and season 3 was mid. I don't think I'll go so far as mid, but whatever the case may be, we got to wait for season 4 to see how this plays out. My number 5 show of 2024 is Shogun season 1. A lot higher on other people's lists, but for me, same issue I had with The Agency that, again, I feel like a lot of this stuff is kind of undeniable, but people get in this thing where, like, once there is a prevailing opinion, people are too scared to say something that diverts from that. So they just hop on the bandwagon and they just parrot the same things that everyone else is saying. But Shogun got off to a weak start to me, man. Like, it was a very rocky start. And if you want to, again, the receipts are there. I covered Shogun. Watch my video for the first episode or the first 2, whatever. It got off to a rocky start. There was some stuff that I think didn't translate well. I didn't like the Blackthorn character. I disliked the Blackthorn character in the first couple episodes. He evolved into something that was tolerable and then into something that wasn't noticeable by the end of the season. But at the beginning, no. Didn't like that character. Had a lot of problems. But again, like The Agency, it got better and better each week. Starting around maybe like episode 4 or 5, somewhere like that. Started getting better and better each week. Really perform. And the whole time, very high production value, very well acted. Everybody on that show is incredible. Very high moments. I can think of several off the top of my head. Like, once it gets going, it's going. But the reason it's down at 5, just like the reason that The Agency was an honorable mention instead of top 10, was that it got off to a slow start. And I'm not going to sit here and act like those first couple episodes didn't happen. Once people started talking about it as a great show, people acted like those first couple episodes didn't happen. And again, that is subjective. Like, maybe most people didn't maybe most people didn't have the issues that I had, so they wouldn't have any reason to talk about it like that. But like I said, Shogun season 1, slow start to me, first couple of episodes, and if you're gonna be a top 3 show, I need to be fucking with you from episode 1 all the way to the end. Not like, got off to a slow start. If it got off to a slow start, you ain't in my top 3. My number 4 show of 2024, Mr. and Mrs. Smith season 1. I mentioned this earlier. Do I have coverage of this on the channel? I don't know. I might not have covered every episode. I don't even know what the fuck I don't think I did cover this. No, it looks like I didn't. But Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Actually, I think I have a one of the Mike's musings. I'll probably talk about it. I'm actually kind of looking right now. Yeah, look at this. This one, Mike's musings 8. Constellation. Vince Staples Show, Monsieur Spade, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Yep. So, yeah. So if you're looking for my thoughts on Mr. and Mrs. Smith, find Mike's Musings 8 on the channel. But yeah, like I mentioned earlier, the Donald Gloverness of it, man, it made it so unique, so fresh. Taking something like that and finding a way to put a unique twist on it with the whole, like everything, the whole high, and like everything about it was different, and it needed that Donald Gloverness to really push it. But after I watched that, I immediately put it in the top 10. Like right now for 2025, I have a couple of shows that I immediately put in the honorable mentions. They are very good shows. I feel like I more than likely will end up with 10 shows better than them. So that's why I just put them into the honorable mentions. But I watched Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I was like, I don't see any way 10 shows come out better than this. And didn't go down farther than 4. So that goes to show you. And all 3 of these, my top 3 came out. Well, no, I can't say they all came out way after, but some of them did. My number 3 show of 2024, Industry Season 3. Industry's gotten better every year. Big, huge leap between seasons 1 and 2. Season 1, I've always said it felt like Euphoria in the banking industry. Like it was all vibes. And I enjoyed season 1 for that, in that regard. But season 2 took such a dramatic leap up in quality to becoming a great show. Not just like, oh, I enjoy this on a A+ level. It's like, no, this is a really strong show. And season 3 continued to improve on it. They brought Kit Harington in this season. And it's such a smart show. And it's one of those shows that brings out the best in me. Like, I'm so proud of my Industry videos, of my Succession videos, because shows that smart, they make me work. They bring out the best in me. I feel like those videos are great. They're great analysis of the analyses of their respective shows. And I just love what a smart show, how a smart show makes me feel. Like it's so engaged. A smart show sticks with you after you get done watching it. When you watch something and you're just like, all right, that was cool, and you go about your fucking day, like that's fine. But a show like Industry and a show like Succession, like I've woke up the next morning thinking about that. Like, man, that was crazy. Oh, what that meant? Let me read something about that. Like something where it just sticks to you. And Industry does that. It's so smart. Again, so well acted. It takes place in the UK. If you're not aware, it's a show that just follows these kids in the financial industry. I don't say banking, the financial industry. But yeah, really great show. Really great show. My number 2 show of 2024 is Say Nothing on FX. Oh, Industry was on HBO, by the way. Mr. and Mrs. Smith on Amazon. I don't know if I said that already. Shogun was on FX/Hulu. Say Nothing, Hulu/FX as well. Actually, no, I think it's just, if it's an FX show, but it was only on Hulu. I don't think it aired on FX. But it follows 2 sisters in Ireland during the time of the Troubles, which I'm not going to give you a history lesson on that, but if you do want one, I do have a video for Say Nothing where I do talk a little bit about it. But it follows these 2 sisters during the Troubles in Ireland. I'm just going to say Ireland rather than getting into the weeds. But yeah, it's a story of their revolution, what they experienced, how their story was told. It's a horrific story at times. It's a moving story at times. Again, well acted. Everyone on there was great. Anthony Boyle, great year. I talked about Anthony Boyle when I talked about my disappointments, because even though Manhunt and Masters of the Air were in my disappointments, it wasn't because of Anthony Boyle. He was great. He was great in this. Yeah, again, just watch the video I have on the channel. But I mean, Say Nothing was an absolutely incredible show. It took a lot for me to decide whether it was going to be number 1 or number 2. I think ultimately I put it at number 2 because I wanted to turn down my recency bias dial, and then also how I wanted to stick to how I determine my rankings, like my tiebreaker. My tiebreaker has always been how much did I look forward to returning to this show? If I watched that episode, how much did I want to watch another one? If it was a week-to-week show, when it came time for another episode to drop, how quickly was I there when that show dropped? How much did I anticipate watching another episode? And that's why my number one show of 2024 is Ripley, which is on Netflix. That was one where I was completely enthralled. Like, I want to avoid hyperbole, but this probably the most beautiful show I've ever seen on TV. Like when you think about that, I think about like location shooting, right? Beautiful settings. You see it all over, all over. I'm about to say Severance, all over Succession. But Ripley, man, it was like everything was like a fucking painting that you could hang in the Louvre. Like, it was beautiful, like black and white show, incredible locations. And then you have this story. It follows the story of, if you saw the movie The Talented Mr. Ripley with Matt Damon, follows that story, obviously differently. It's 8 episodes, I believe. But it's so artistic. It's so beautiful. It's so well done. The acting is, again, my man from Fleabag. Here we go. Here I go. I gotta go right back to IMDb again. My man from Fleabag. Let me look up Ripley. Andrew Scott. There we go. Andrew Scott. Incredible in this. Incredible, man. Like, so many great wordless moments just spoken with his face, man. Like, great acting on this. But I can't stress enough how beautiful this thing was. Like, every shot was just like, I want a still of that in my house. And I could not wait to get back. Like, this show had long scenes where virtually nothing happened, and I was on the edge of my seat, man. I mean, this show was really pretty perfect. In a year that was disappointing and flawed, heavily flawed, this show knocked it out of the park. So that's my top 10 for 2024. I keep track all year, so my 2025 list is already in motion. I'm going to get some more Mike's Musings up on the Patreon, and when that happens, you will be hearing about some of my 2025 honorable mentions that are already there. So let me know what you thought about your top 10s. If you want to send me your top 10s, send them to join the Discord that's in the episode description. Join the Facebook page. You can email me. All that contact information is in the episode description here. Send me your top 10 list, because I do plan on doing another video where I talk about other people's top 10 lists, and I'm going to choose one show out of those top 10 lists that I haven't seen, and I'm going to watch that show and then do a video on it. So it can't be your show if you don't send me your list. So send me your top 10 list, and until next time, peace.